From lighting fireworks in his bathroom to throwing darts at youth team players, Balotelli is one of the most interesting characters to grace the sport of football, possessing immense skill whilst also being absolutely crazy. And in this video, we'll be looking at the madness of Mario Balotelli. His footballing journey began at his local side Lamazane, aged 11, and 4 years later he found himself on the radar of Europe's elite clubs, going on trial to FC Barcelona aged 15 years old. However, a move to the Spanish Giants fell through, with his agent demanding more money than Barca were willing to pay, and so he returned to Lamazane, where he made history by becoming the youngest ever player to play in the Italian 3rd division. This saw Inter Milan swoop in for him, and he eventually made his debut for them just days after his 17th birthday under manager Roberto Mancini. He quickly established himself as a key player and made the headlines when he scored 2 goals against Juventus in the Coppa Italia quarter-finals, helping Inter win 3-2 away from home. By the end of his debut campaign, he had scored 7 goals in 15 appearances, and his performances improved even more in the next season, making history once again in November 2008 when he became Inter's youngest ever goal scorer in the Champions League. It was without question that footballing-wise, Balotelli was a star. But there was one main concern with him, his attitude. Jose Mourinho, who took the helm of Inter Milan in 2008, publicly criticised Balotelli for it, stating, "As far as I'm concerned, a young boy like him cannot allow himself to train less than people like Figo, Cordoba or Zane. I can't accept that from someone who is still a nobody, who hasn't made it yet, who is still a talent with potential." Mourinho proceeded to drop Balotelli from the squad altogether in hopes it would give the young player a wake-up call and help him focus on his football. But nothing he or anyone else could do would stop Balotelli and his antics. From appearing on an Italian comedy show wearing the shirt of Inter Milan's biggest rivals, to getting sent off in the Champions League despite receiving specific instructions to avoid all conflict as he was the club's only fit striker, Balotelli was earning the reputation of football's ultimate maverick. And in one instance, his behaviour caused an irreparable rift between him and Inter Milan supporters. Balotelli came on as a 75th minute substitute in the first leg of the 2010 UCL semi-final against Barcelona and found himself being booed by the Inter fans because of his half-hearted performance. And so, despite Inter winning 3-1, he threw his shirt onto the ground at full time out of frustration, disrespecting the club that gave him his first big break. He would later come out and say that it was the only thing in his life he'd avoid doing again. But regret or not, there was no coming back for Balotelli at Inter Milan. Inter Milan would go on to win the treble that season, with Balotelli's 20 goal involvements playing a big part in that. But he was disapproved of by everyone involved with the club and sought a fresh start elsewhere. In the end, he joined Man City and he moved worth £22.5 million, reuniting with former manager Mancini, and it was in England that Balotelli became even more chaotic. He missed the opening of the season for injury, and after recovering, it didn't take long for the madness to start. He netted a brace to help Man City go 2-0 up against West Brom, but shortly after, he proceeded to kick out other midfielder Youssef Mulumbu and was suspended for 3 games because of it. The following month, he won the Golden Boy Award, a testament to his quality and potential, but his ego was evidently out of hand when he belittled the previous winners, saying there's only one that is a little stronger than me, Messi. All the others are behind me. He finished his first season in Manchester with 10 goals across all competitions and had established himself as quite a peculiar character. Earlier that season, he was handed a £100,000 fine by Man City after being caught throwing darts at youth team players. Not only that, but right after he had signed, he crashed his LDR rate in the city's training grounds, and when questioned by police why he had £5,000 in his back pocket, he simply replied, "Because I am rich." The following season saw his name become a mainstay in the papers for both on and off the field reasons. In an infamous clip, Balotelli tried to pull off an audacious backheel in a pre-season friendly vs LA Galaxy, leaving Mancini appalled, substituting him off the pitch immediately after. Then during the season itself, Balotelli's mansion caught on fire after he lit fireworks inside of his bathroom with his mates. Just days after this incident, he bagged a brace in a humiliating 6-1 victory over their title rivals Manchester United, revealing his iconic "Why Always Me" undershirt in the process. Despite all his controversies, he was a key player for City, and in the final match of the season, he would assist Aguero for the goal that crowned Man City as Premier League champions for the first ever time. He would join up with the Italian national team a few months later for Euro 2012 and was a standout player for the Azzurri, netting twice versus Germany to take Italy to the final and delivered yet another iconic celebration. He had an abundance of talent, but his attitude was the one thing holding him back, with him even having a bust-up with Mancini in training. And so, after 2.5 seasons at Man City, Mancini wanted him out, with Balotelli proving too troublesome to stay and his form taking a turn for the worse, seeing him depart the club for AC Milan. It was back in Italy that Balotelli began to rediscover his form, netting 12 league goals in just 13 appearances in his first season with the club, and it was hoped he would continue to build on this. He did do that to some extent, netting 14 goals and getting 7 assists in the league the following season, which saw Liverpool decide to bring him back to the Premier League. Balotelli was meant to be the replacement for Luis Suarez, but fell severely below expectations, only managing to score 1 Premier League goal and falling out of favour under manager Brendan Rodgers. This saw him return to AC Milan on loan, but even in familiar surroundings, his struggles continued, and when he came back to Liverpool, there was a new manager in town, Jurgen Klopp. Klopp wanted nothing to do with Balotelli, however, and so the striker joined OGC Nice over in France. He stayed there for 2.5 seasons, netting 43 goals in 76 matches, which were decent numbers, but far off the levels he should have been at that point in his career. While at Nice, he also had a habit of losing his head on the pitch, receiving 3 straight red cards during his time there. His next club was Marseille, joining them in January 2019 and proceeding to bag 8 goals in 15 games for the French side, famously scoring a bicycle kick and celebrating by taking an Instagram video of his phone. He then had a homecoming move to Brescia in the summer of 2019, returning to the town where he grew up. However, things didn't go according to plan, getting relegated with the club in his only season with them and leaving on bad terms, having a fallout with the club's president and missing 10 days of training prior to leaving. He joined Monza in the Serie B afterwards on a 7-month deal, but failed to do anything significant before moving to Turkey to play for Adana Demirspor. It was here that he reminded people of his talent, bagging 18 league goals, including an outrageous Rabona that was nominated for the Puskas Awards. However, things inevitably ended poorly, with him having an altercation with head coach Vincenzo Montella, who had to be restrained, later stating, "I can only say that we expected more from Mario." His next destination was Switzerland, signing for FC Sion, but it was evident from day one he had no real care for the club, revealing that going to Switzerland was a lifestyle choice. The club ended up being relegated in his first season, and the club's director of sport came out and said it was a mistake signing Balotelli and that he should have allowed them to take a step forward with 20 goals, but unfortunately he only scored 5. Currently 33 years of age, Balotelli is applying his trade for Adana Demirspor once again, but injuries have ruled him out for most of the season. When you look back at his career, it's safe to say it's been more chaotic than most, with him reaching the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, and he's without a doubt one of the most interesting personalities in the history of football.